we can start. Okay, so hi everyone. This is the first ever episode of the 5710 podcast. I'm here with the presidents of 5710, Dale.
Yeah.
And Hugh.
Yeah.
And we're just going to talk you through like why we're doing the podcast and what 5710 is. Which is my first question to Dale and Hugh. What is 5710 for the people, maybe first years, or if by some miracle we get people that aren't part of 5710 to listen?
Definitely. So 5710 is the Architecture Society at the Scott Sutherland School of Architecture and Built Environment in Aberdeen. We run a lecture programme as well as several socials throughout the year. So this year we've got 18 lectures along with 6 major socials planned for throughout the year. Most of the events are on Thursdays at 5 o'clock, and the aim is just to bring together like-minded people who have interests in the built environment from throughout the whole of the school, as well as reaching out to the wider public as well.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I would also say that 5710 is completely student-led. It's a collective of 12 people now, the committee, and basically we run the show here. I don't know. You've probably just covered everything for that, I think.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And kind of, as I said, this is the first episode of the podcast that hasn't been done before, and it's kind of, we're setting it up to interview the architects that come, so that people that might not be able to come along to every lecture can still be involved with the society, and maybe if someone has left the uni or something, they can still be involved with the society as well, which is kind of why we're doing it. Yeah. And it's also a special year for 5710 because it's the 30th anniversary.
Yeah, no, 30th anniversary this year was just pretty crazy when you come to think of it. I think it makes it the oldest society at Robert Gordon University, and maybe the oldest student-led society of its kind. I'm not quite sure, but something definitely to celebrate. Yeah, we'll fact check that. Get on Google. No. But it's definitely an asset to the school now. I don't think there's many societies that have the same kind of format as us, nor is it so well funded, and it's definitely something that's going to continue to the future, just continue getting larger.
I think over the 30 years, the society's really gained a reputation, certainly throughout schools in Scotland, and even schools in England and Wales, and Northern Ireland, and abroad, are recognising its success, and I think we've seen that from student societies starting up at other schools as well, trying to replicate what we've sort of got here as such.
Yeah, it's quite unique actually, what we've got here, and I think it kind of reflects in the work that the school produces as well, getting these outside bodies to come in and speak to us on stuff. We always say out with the discourse of the school, and it really is. You get people from, we've had Italians last year, and then who else did we get over? We got some Spanish practices, German practices, you get a real array of people.
To continue that thought line, could you maybe say where some people are coming from this semester?
Yeah, well,
I
guess the plan for this year, when we sat back and looked at it, was to try and just get a really high calibre of architect to come to the school again. I mean, 30 years you attract some big names that want to be part of this. I think initially we set out with, 6 Scottish practices in mind, trying to get over 2 semesters. And
6
then
rest of the UK practices, 4 international practices, and then 2 alternatives to sort of really reach out to those people who aren't within the discipline of architecture, but we feel we can certainly learn from different and associated disciplines. So this year we have Nathan Coley coming up in first semester, who's he's coming up on the 4th of October 2018, and he was shortlisted for the Turner Prize a few years ago, finalist. And like Dale was saying, we've got many international architects coming. So again, in first semester, we've got Soren Nielsen of Van Kunsten Architects, who are based over in Copenhagen in Denmark, along with
Mels Krul. Yeah, he's one of the founding members of the Bentham Krul. And if anyone has been to Amsterdam, I'm sure if you're walking around, if you're walking around with your eyes open, you're bound to have seen something they've done. they're pretty big and subtly big. I think
Yeah.
was quite important about them as well.
Definitely.
But yeah, above that as well. I mean, me and you spoke about the number of practices we're trying to get coming. If it's one every week, blah blah blah. And we kind of concentrated. We said, well, yeah, Scottish practices really need to feature on this as well. They've supported the 5710, and
Yeah,
there might be
exactly.
some names you've seen there quite recently in the last couple of years, but we think we've really got the highest calibre of some Scottish practices coming up here speaking again. We've got Neil Gillespie, who's loved by the school, Richard Murphy, who's obviously Bill Black runs Unit 1 Masters. But we've got actual Richard Murphy coming up to talk about his practice. And
Actual Richard Murphy.
yeah, actual Richard Murphy. the ghost. No. And who else have we got? We've got Malcolm Fraser coming up as well.
Malcolm Fraser's coming up in first semester.
Well, it should be fantastic to hear from him, because he's had such a, unique career in himself as well, and he's fighting quite hard just now for kind of the quality of Scottish architecture to go up. So, I mean, there's a bunch of people here that...
Yeah, I think in terms of Scottish practices, we've really nailed it down to who we think are the best and most progressive in Scotland, and that's like for a lot of the practices as well. We've invited. We're truly happy with the lineup that we've put together for first semester, and it should be exciting. We've got Joe Morris, who's coming up next week on the 27th of September. Our opening lecture.
First proper episode of the podcast.
That's correct. Yeah.
So,
yeah, nobody agrees to this. No.
We'll see. Be sure to stay tuned or to tune into that. I'll use that to link. It'll be uploaded hopefully on Saturday mornings or Saturday afternoons to YouTube, and if I can get it to work onto iTunes as well, which means it goes across all of the linked apps from iTunes as well.
Yeah.
But they'll be shared on our Facebook page, which is
I think so, yeah.
5710
I think if
Lecture
you
Society.
lecture series, I think
Lecture
it is.
series.
But yeah, if you type in 5710, it should come
It
up.
should come up. So be
5710.
sure to like that, and then they'll share whenever it's released, and then you can subscribe to it on YouTube
Absolutely.
or iTunes.
I'm sure you can find it through our website at some point as well. We'll work that in.
Yeah,
So yeah,
I think.
all those kind of things. Yeah.
So next week we have Joe Morris,
Yeah, we do.
as Hugh said, and then after that we've got Nathan Coley, who's the artist from Glasgow.
Correct.
So there's a good lineup, which you can see the full on the Facebook page.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hi guys, it's your host Patrick here. Unfortunately we had some technical difficulties, which is why Hugh was cut off there, but we do manage to get right back into the conversation without too much hassle. Sorry about that, and thank you for tuning in. Yeah. Okay, well, sorry about that. We just had a technical difficulty there. We'll put some little music over that. But it is about time to wrap up anyway, so I will ask Hugh and Dale one of the questions which will come up for the rest of the guests, and since you are our first guests, I'll ask you it as well. If you could add any place, any building or city to a grand tour that a student might go on to, where would it be for each of you?
Okay.
So,
Me first.
Dale first.
Well, it's quite hard because I've not really been a lot of places. So I'm just a little farmer from Forfar. So I'll go on the basis of some of the tours that we've done with the school, study trips and such. So the one, I guess, that really stands out for me that I went to see and nearly brought a tear to my eye.
I remember this.
Yeah, no.
No?
Maybe not, I don't know. There's two. So I guess the one that we've most recently been to see was the Pure Art Centre in Orkney, which is definitely maybe top 5 buildings I've ever been to. It was by Riachan Hall and Neil Gillespie's kind of baby project that's really celebrated in Scotland. But the other one that I think that everyone must see once if they see any building is the Neuss Museum in Berlin by David Chipperfield, which I think is one of the best restorations I've ever seen in my entire life. And no matter where you look, you'll find scars on that building that he's thought about. He's not forgotten anything in that. So I would definitely recommend everyone going to see that building.
There's a little tear running down.
no, it was a great building to see, and I would definitely say if you get the chance to go there with the school, to go there. But saying that, I've also never been to Japan, which is like top of my list.
Yeah.
So I'm aiming for Japan.
I was going to say I'd love to go to Japan. and tour around there. Just experience the culture. The architecture they have out there is fantastic, and the food as well is a big attraction. But in terms of places I've been to and I would recommend on a grand tour, I was fortunate enough to go travelling around Spain and Portugal this year. So you guys
can't see that.
So I would recommend Porto.
Okay.
Porto was my favourite city on the trip. Unfortunately, the weather was a bit like it is today, and it was absolutely chucking it down for the whole 4 days we were there. But the culture and the food, the city itself was absolutely beautiful. Architecturally, Alvaro Caesar has got a lot of buildings within the city, some great social housing projects. He's got his Lido, what he did out by the coast. So I would jump at the chance to go back to Porto again. Hopefully when the weather is nicer though.
Yeah.
Hopefully, by the end of this, we'll figure out where Patrick wants to go as well once he's heard everyone's.
Maybe,
everyone's.
This is
I'll be
Patrick's
the
grand tour. This is Patrick's
Yeah, I'm
holiday
gonna
plans.
do a video going around every single place. I'll be bankrupt by the end of it. Okay, so I think we've pretty much covered everything we wanted to cover.
Yeah, I think so.
As said, the next one will be Joe Morris and will be uploaded hopefully on Saturday if everything goes well. On YouTube and iTunes, it will be shared on Facebook as well. So thank you very much.
Oh, thank
This
you.
has been
Cheers,
the
Patrick.
5710 first episode of the podcast.
Signing off.
Signing off.